Classes. Name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. God, thank you for bringing us all together. Thank you for volleyball and football and cross country and soccer and anything I left out. We have speakers today and help us to be extremely open-minded and to learn everything, God, that you want us to learn and to ask good questions. Name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. This is Mr. Alex Bentzinger, and I just met his friend. Is it Brianna?
It's Bree.
Bree, okay.
It is Bree.
And he's, as you know from his brother and maybe from him, highly entrepreneurial, does a marketing company, started in videos when he was about 13 years old, was making money from making videos very early, either 14 or 15. Things have gone pretty well for him since then. Not to say that it is a struggle. I mean, whatever you do in life, it's going to be a struggle. And I just met Bree, and she does a little entrepreneurial group that meets about every 2 weeks, and I don't know anything else about her, so this is going to be a delightful surprise for all of us. So, this is Mr. Bentzinger, and Bree.
Hey guys, okay, just so I can get a feel for it, how, interested are you in this presentation? Are you guys kind of okay, looking forward to lunch, or, are you guys, actually interested in this class and interested in entrepreneurship, kind of in general? A little bit? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. Okay, all right, that's helpful. I know, when I was at St. James, there were certain classes that I would be super engaged in, classes like this, and then there were other classes that I was kind of sick of. So I was wondering really how in depth I should go and how short I should keep it. But it sounds like you guys are a little bit interested in what I have to say. So we'll get started. So hello, my name is Alex Bentzinger, and I have a little presentation for you guys today. If I can find there it is, my remote. I made a video that kind of introduces myself. And it's probably not going to play the sound, you guys, so hang on, everybody.
On the little white remote, there's volume.
On the white remote, there's volume. And then we're going to just make sure the audio is going out to Epson. I'm going to play this video just to test the audio. Hang with me, you guys. Oh my gosh, what's happening? I heard something.
Okay, now wait right there. I've got a really important one for you. Today, we're going to be talking about content marketing and why it's the way your business...
That should work. That should work. Okay, cool, guys. We're back in business. Please work, remote. Please work.
My name's Alex Bentzinger, and at the young age of 20, I dropped out of college to lay the blueprints for what is now Bentz Creative. If there's one thing that I want you to know about my company, it's that we create content that businesses use to attract customers. Sharing relevant industry information on companies' social media pages, but it's not that simple. Your content needs to be bold. It needs to be out there. It needs to be sharp. It needs to be modern. And that's what we create here. And that is what I'm going to show you how to do today.
Super hype, you guys. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about what content marketing is. Ooh, super exciting. Then I'm going to go into a little bit about kind of how I started my company and some different things that I think would be helpful for you guys to know if you're interested in starting your own companies one day, because I've made a lot of mistakes. I've failed over and over and over again, and that is how I've gotten to where I am today. And that's something that that's kind of the mentality that I encourage you all to proceed with. If you ever kind of embark on an entrepreneurial endeavor, because failure's fun and fascinating. Failure is fun and fascinating. And if you embrace failure as opportunities to learn, truly you will get to wherever you want to be in life. And we'll talk about that later. But anyway, my name's Alex Bentzinger. That's a cool picture I took the other day. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a content marketer. And today, again, we're going to talk about what content marketing is. I went to St. James. I was in the class of 2015. you might remember, some of you might remember the end of the day announcements.
Good afternoon, St. James Academy. These are your afternoon announcements. Hey, tomorrow's Friday. Super tight? Super tight. You made it.
And other things I did here, I announced for the baseball team, the St. James baseball team. I ran cross country. These are some cool pictures. I actually think they're kind of funny. Look at my face on the one on the right. Super tired. And I also kind of experimented with writing music, but as you can see by these pictures, I wasn't very satisfied with how that turned out. So I bailed on that. My face is just disappointment in these pictures. I went super hard at school dances. And I still have this picture of Mr. Rapp at my house that I stole out of the trash can here at St. James. So a little bit of history about me there. I also liked to wear this vest when I was at St. James. Big vest guy. Big vest guy. In 2015, in the St. James cafeteria, I, using the internet and using my school laptop, created an LLC for Bentz Creative. I did it at a play practice while I wasn't on stage, and yeah, that's when Bentz Creative officially became an LLC in 2015. It actually happened in the St. James cafeteria here. Bentz Creative is a company that creates marketing content for large businesses, and we're going to kind of go into that later. But essentially, what we're doing is we are creating a look and feel about a company using pictures and video, if that makes sense. Obviously, I mean, as many of you know, social media is one of the most important ways businesses get new business. You know, back in the day, everyone's eyes were on TV, everyone's eyes were on the newspaper, everyone's eyes were on billboards, and that's kind of where marketers would put their businesses that they're advertising. And these days, as many of you know, your eyes are on social media. That's where your attention is. So as an advertiser, that's where I want to put my business's advertisements. It's because you're engaged in your social media. I want to kind of capture some of that attention. So the way I do that is I create videos. My company creates videos. My company creates pictures, and my company creates paid advertisements that kind of show up in your Facebook feed and your Instagram feed. And in addition to that, we also create websites at Bentz Creative as well. From concept to delivery, we create visually stunning, emotionally compelling, and intellectually engaging content for brands across the globe. Our films increase revenue and improve the perceived value of brands, products, and people. That's kind of our motto. My highly skilled team of content creators continue to push the boundaries for what is possible in the marketing world today. And that's Eric Sherbarth. He's one of the gentlemen that work for me. And today we're going to be talking about content marketing. Here we have two of my other employees. This is Sam Winger on the right and Ben Brodsky on the left. They're shooting, I think this day we were at a chiropractic office, shooting video for the chiropractor office. So, you know, content marketing, what is it, how we do it, why it works, and how to do it yourself, because I think it's super important and everybody should be doing content marketing. Content marketing is the routine posting of relevant industry knowledge to acquire the interest of your target audience. There's two super key words here. The words are routine and relevant, okay? And I'm going to kind of go into why those are important. But content marketing isn't effective if you're not posting routinely. If you're not posting this content out on your social media, and we'll go into more about what that content looks like in a second. But if you're not posting regularly on your social media platform, your customers are going to think you're dead. Your customers are going to think you're not alive. I mean, have you been on some business's page or one of your friends' page and seen that the last post they had was 9 months ago? I mean, get lost. Like that's not what people should be doing in 2017, 2018. And the other thing is relevant. So if what you're posting isn't like actually kind of a moment for your clients, it's don't even post it. I mean, you can't just be posting things on social media for the sake of posting things consistently. I mean, it needs to, the way I say it is there's no getting around it. There's no getting around the fact that you need to be creating good content that is interesting to your customers. And really what that requires is just a little bit of extra effort. A little bit of extra effort in the content that you're producing. Oh my gosh, what happened? Guys, Keynote quit unexpectedly. Should we report it, ignore it, or reopen? Okay, marketing presentation. Stay with me.
Okay, now wait right there. I've got a really important one for you. Today, we're going to be talking about content marketing and why it's the way your business should be marketing itself in this day and age. What is content marketing? What does it do, and why does your business even need to be doing? Well, content marketing is the routine posting of relevant industry knowledge to acquire the interest of your target audience. In your content marketing campaign, we recommend that you post pictures, blog posts, and short videos to help bring in your audience with the content. Now, this next part is super essential. Your content needs to be extremely relevant to your audience. There's no getting around this. You really need to create things that your audience is truly interested in reading. The reason for this is because users on the internet aren't looking for entertainment, but rather they're looking to be informed. They're looking for information they can use to help themselves. So give it to them. What does putting all that information out there even do? Well, whether you run a small chain of soda shops or a multi-million-dollar insurance company, you can benefit from content marketing. Content marketing gives you a following of potential customers. It allows you to first build an audience, and then secondly, it allows you to draw them in as paying customers. It even continually reminds prospects that you exist. And customers that might have fallen off can keep coming back to your company and keep being reminded of your company. Content marketing is a great way to advertise without being annoying. Now, your content marketing is going to succeed because that's what people are responding to in this day and age. Again, you need to adapt. You need to be following the market trends. And this is what people are responding to these days. Your company is going to stay afloat because you're using modern marketing techniques like content marketing. And you're avoiding things like old-fashioned techniques, TV commercials, print advertising. That's what worked for people 10 years ago. Today, it's different. Think about it. The first thing you do when TV commercials come on is you pull out this little guy. That's where your audience is too. Trust it. Remember, people are going to pay attention to relevant content, so give it to them. Now, how does your business use content marketing? Well, I recommend you post at least once a week. Post boldly and write about things that you know. There's a quote that I like from Mae Brown that says, "Creativity comes from trust, and trust comes from your instincts." Write about what you know. Write about what you feel is right. Write about what you think is relevant to your industry. And chances are, what you think is relevant probably is relevant. You're not the only person that's seeking answers for the questions that you have. Chances are your audience probably has the same questions as well. Let's say you're an auto dealership wanting to build your audience with content marketing. Your first presentation could be a short video about maybe a home remedy for getting stains out of your upholstery seating.
It's a good idea.
Now that's something that I would read. You could also conduct a case study, create a weekly video tip series, take sides on a recent local legislation change, or maybe you could write a beginner's guide to something. There are so many opportunities you have to reach out and inform your audience. It's really just a matter of what you come up with. But remember, the content needs to be relevant. You really don't know unless you put yourself out there as a business and try. After you've created your content, remember to push it out on all of your social medias. That could be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of them. Content marketing is the way people are doing things these days. Remember, providing relevant content consistently is the way to build momentum in your audience. Don't forget to like our page, Ben's Creative, for more information like this. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions regarding some of the things that I've talked about. Thanks again for listening, and good luck with your content marketing. Take care.
Rockin'. Any questions on what content marketing is? Do you guys have kind of a good understanding of what my company does? Awesome. Cool. Sweet, the video did its job. Okay. The big thing that I say, and this is what I tell my clients, is if the social content you're putting out doesn't make you just a little bit uncomfortable, it's not good enough. An example of this is the video you just saw previously was actually a piece of content marketing that my business put out about content marketing. But, I mean, things that made me uncomfortable about that, I didn't think it was perfect. The lighting was kind of weird in my face. I like still getting comfortable when I talk in front of the camera, and I hate seeing myself on camera, and essentially like, okay, this is putting myself out there. That means it's probably right. I mean, putting yourself out there on social media is the way to succeed, and it's for a very simple reason. It's because people don't pay attention to playing. People don't pay attention to playing. People pay attention to things that are bold, and that's essentially like my strategy behind social media. So, kind of shifting gears, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the mindset that one should have when starting a company. And a lot of the times you see the word hustle associated with that. Hustle. Essentially, being successful requires you to be very uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean it's not fun. To build a company, to achieve your dreams, you need to be putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. Obviously. But, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you don't really believe in what you're doing, if you don't really get enjoyment out of kind of what you're pursuing, then you're going to be just very uncomfortable with no reward, if that makes sense. So an example of this is if you're chasing money, is if you're building a company to just get money, you're going to just be left with this. You're going to be just left with this. This is the uncomfortable part of it. Building a company is an enormous thing to do. It requires so much effort. It requires, 12, 14, 16-hour days, late nights, working weekends, things like that. And what I'm trying to tell you is you can't really do it successfully unless you enjoy what you're doing. And this is why I always tell people to follow their passion, is to do things that make them happy. And I keep talking about success. Oh, success. That doesn't mean you're rich. That doesn't mean you're wealthy. This is what I define success as. Success is being in a place where you can be sustainably happy. Success is being in a place where you can be sustainably happy. That could mean you're a basketball coach. That could mean you work at a recycling plant. Really, if that's something that you enjoy, hats off. You are a successful person. Or you could start a company. You could start a company that has something to do with basketball. You could start a company that has something to do with recycling. You see, what I'm trying to really get in your guys' head is chasing after your passion is really the only way to do it. Chasing after your passion is really the only way to do it. I wouldn't recommend chasing after anything other than happiness. And that's something that people learn later on in their lives and eventually regret. But chasing things that have lasting meaning is something that I've learned through failure is a priority. There was a time that I chased money. In fact, not even too long ago. And I finally woke up and I said, I'm not happy. My clients aren't happy. I'm not passionate about what I'm doing. I'm not applying myself to what I'm doing. So I changed. So I started pursuing things that made me happy. Instead of taking every job that came our way, I would only take jobs that I wanted to do with companies that were kind, and companies that were doing cool things, and companies that stood for things that I stood for. That's right. I started saying no to some of my clients. I started saying I'm not gonna work with you because that's what I'm chasing. Is I want to be in a place where I can be sustainably happy. Additionally, investing in your future happiness is not selfish. It's something that I recommend you make your top priority. So, school, parents, ACT, scholarships, college grades, it's like, I think somewhere along the way, I started doing all of those things for other people, right? For my parents, for, because I was following the status quo. I was just kind of going with the flow. I wasn't really doing things. I wasn't taking steps to promote my personal happiness, and I wasn't chasing after things that made me happy. And essentially, when I finally got to college, I realized I don't enjoy this. Not necessarily enjoy being in college, because college is hard and you have to learn things and do things you don't want to do in life. But I didn't enjoy what I was working towards. I wasn't motivated. I had bad grades. I wasn't showing up to class because it's not really what I wanted to be doing. And it took me a long time to realize that. It took me a long time to realize that I wasn't succeeding in school because I wasn't passionate about what I was chasing after. And so I started taking steps to invest in my personal happiness. And that's a process. That's something that takes years and years and years to do. I mean, you can't just find your dream job overnight. I mean, it's something that takes years and years of hard work, and I call it investing, because you take your time, you do something you don't want to do, so hopefully way down the line, you can set yourself up for a lifetime of things that you do want to do. So I guess, as you guys are getting older, as you guys are looking at colleges, and you guys are careers like that, know that the steps that right now affect that. And you can start making moves to achieve your personal happiness right now. I had this feeling when I was in high school that I was just kind of waiting for life to start. I was just kind of waiting for, okay, now it's time to go. Now it's time to start making decisions and making moves to affect my personal happiness. And that was a big, big mistake. Because I guess, life has already started. I could get on YouTube at any time and teach myself any new skill. So why, when I was in high school, was I not doing that? Why was I not making investments towards my personal future happiness? Well, I was waiting for life to start. I was waiting for college. Whatever I do doesn't matter until I get to college, that kind of mentality. But no. As I eventually realized, and kind of later on in my high school career, I realized that I can start taking steps right now, today, to do what I want to do in life. And it doesn't matter that I'm 18, 19 years old. I wanted to do it right now. I wanted to chase after what I wanted. And I know some of you guys aren't quite sure what you want. For me, I've been a filmmaker my entire life. I've literally done it since second grade. So I kind of knew that that's something that I wanted to do. And I know you guys talk a lot in this class about finding what you want to do. And I guess, to speak to those people that aren't exactly sure what their passion is, keep listening to Mr. Webker. He's got some good advice about finding your passion and getting yourself out there and truly finding what it is that is important to you in your lives. Let's see if there's any other slides. Oh, it's just the last slide, you guys, with that cool picture of me. Okay, this is my favorite part. This is my absolute favorite part. And this is because I feel like I can speak directly to what your guys' interests are and what your guys' questions are. So this slide is my super favorite one. We're going to spend so much time on this slide, but I want to know, based on kind of what I've spoken about so far, what has captured your guys' interest, and what do you guys want to know more about? Yeah?
Do you ever watch Casey Neistat for video ideas, how to represent or get the word out to people?
Absolutely. Casey Neistat. Wait a second. I got that confused with. Is that who I think it is?
You just recently discovered it.
Yes, that is.
Blogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was having trouble putting the face with the name. So, funny story. Yes, I do. I always seek inspiration, and in the creative world, it's kind of interesting because a lot of people in my line of work, steal other people's ideas. I mean, where you can kind of bang your head against a wall and try and come up with fresh ideas for clients, or you can go on the internet and find something that worked for somebody else and emulate that. So I absolutely love Casey Neistat. I did recently discover Casey Neistat, and I also like am getting into vlogging myself because that's something that I think is going to be like kind of fun for me, and as part of like chasing after my dream, I would love to have a platform to share things that are important to me. So yeah, vlogging is something that I'm getting into. I totally watching Casey Neistat videos to get a feel for like what I should be doing. That's an awesome question.
You said you've been doing filmmaking since your life cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever considered making a full feature film or like a movie?
Great question. Great question. Yes and no. Yes and no. So I want to stay as far away from the entertainment industry as possible. I do not want to be some Hollywood TV show guy. That feels kind of cheap to me. That doesn't feel very meaningful. What I do want to do is make documentaries. And I've told myself that I'm 21 now. I told myself when I turn 25, I'm going to stop working. And I'm going to travel and make documentary films about things that I find personally relevant. So my dream is to enact positive social change through the use of film. And right now, I'm in business. I'm helping companies become successful, but I'm not enacting positive social change. And that's where my sustainable happiness lies. That's what I want to do with my life. So I think that looks like making documentary films. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my feature film life would be.
So when you started saying like no to the other clients, it helped you like personally, but did it like help your business at all too?
It did. It really did. So that's a great question, and that's probably one of the more advanced business strategies that I talked about. But firing clients is something that can really help your business. If you think about, let's say I have 10 clients, and my 3 worst clients take up 80% of my time because they're mad at me about something, or they will email me until I respond to them. If I don't respond within 2 hours, I have some clients that will do that. Where are you? And that's just a waste of time. Or clients that are super picky about things and mean and don't really understand the process. And people that there are clients of mine that waste my time. And so as a business strategy, I can free up a lot of my time by firing those clients. So if I get rid of these bottom 3 clients that take up 80% of my time, now I have the bandwidth to take on 6 more clients instead of just 3 crappy ones. So working with mature brands and brands that help you, it's worth it to kind of weed them out. It's a great question. So,
Okay, going back to positive social change. All right. So, in what like issues or passions that you have do you wish to like enact that social change?
Uh-huh.
So, like, what would the places you want to do that, and like, how would you do it with film?
That's a great question. So, something that has frustrated me my entire life is the way that people look at each other, right? And it's kind of a simple concept, but I think that the human relationship, the ability to meet somebody new and learn about them, is such a beautiful thing. It's such an amazing thing, and everyone's got their thing. Everyone's dealing with something. Everyone deserves a little bit of compassion, if that makes sense. And I don't think people give that to each other. I don't think people truly see each other for what they are and the challenges that they have faced, and really the kind of the character that they possess. So if I could do one thing with my entire life, it would be to just make people appreciate each other more. So how would I do that? Maybe I could just zoom in on certain people, random people off the street, people in this class, and just show the world how beautiful of a person they are, or show the world how hard their life is, and really kind of stir up this feeling of appreciation in other people. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Totally.
How hard was it for you to like drop out of college?
Great question. Great question. So I'm a bit of a character. Like I'm a bit of a cowboy, and it was super easy for me. You know, like I just kind of always wanted to do it. I mean, as soon as I got to college, I mean, I shouldn't tell you this. My GPA was a 1.2.
No, you should tell them this.
My GPA was a 1.2, and I was traveling to Kansas City 3 or 4 times a week from Manhattan. It was a 2-hour drive to go to meetings, and so I already had my business going, and it was easy for me to just go from school to a functional business, as opposed to dropping out of school, sitting down and being like, okay, where do I start? You know, if that makes sense. I had clients, I had money coming in, I was you know, at a point where the transition was comfortable. Does that answer your question? Cool.
Can I tell a funny story related
Yeah,
to that?
absolutely.
So it might have been 2 years ago, and so you would have been a freshman in college, if I
Uh-huh.
have the thing right, and he couldn't make it in, so he Skyped in. And so he's there, and you were just mentioning that I have been working 19 hours a day for the last 3 weeks, and you look tired. You know, you're getting 5 hours of sleep a night.
Uh-huh.
And somebody said, when do you have time to go to class? And then you got this look, and then you said, okay, everybody, don't tell my parents. And there's like 50 people in the room, and your brother was next door. And you just know somebody's getting on their phone. You're texting Jacob, I have a 1.2 GPA, I haven't been to class for 4 weeks. The whole room just cracked.
That is hilarious. I forgot. I told you guys that, or the class that. Yeah. That's funny because I presented to your class when I was in it, like when it was happening.
Yeah.
So that's a funny story. That's awesome.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're good.
take over.
What are your goals for your company?
What are my goals for my company? Great question. So I'm in a bit of a period of transition in my company. 2 months ago, there was another gentleman that was a business partner of mine. He actually owned 50% of my company, actually 49%, so I can still win. But he owned 49% of the company, and we were in it together. He's a business partner. And he actually eventually left. I bought out his shares in the company, and now I own 100% of Bentz Creative. So, you know, since that's happened so recently, we're in a period of, wow, I get to make all the decisions instead of just me and my business partner like discussing them. So there's a lot of change happening as far as my goals go. There's a lot of change happening as far as the direction of my company. Ever since my business partner left, I've started firing clients because I'm not obsessed with money, you know, and I think my business partner was. I'm pursuing things that make me more happy and fulfilled, and things that maybe are less profitable. So the way my company works is it's an agency model, and essentially what happens is we get a job in, and what we do is we hire it out to contractors. And a contractor is like an employee, except we only pay them on a per project basis. So they don't have a salary, they don't clock in and clock out. I just say, I'll pay you $30 an hour to go film this, and then just bring the video back to me when it's done. And that's kind of how it works. And then, you know, there's profit involved in that. And so essentially I can operate this company without touching a camera. Ever since my business partner left, I've been like going out on shoots more. I've been doing more videos myself because that's just what I enjoy doing. And even though that's less profitable and I have less bandwidth to do, you know, as many projects, it's something I enjoy. But yeah, so my goals are probably to stay in Kansas City, to scale up, and I'd like to, you know, in the next few years get to the place where I can be charging between $15,000 and $20,000 for a video. So, you know, I'd like to be there in the next few years.
How big do you want your company to get?
Not huge. I don't want it to get huge. I'd like to take up the entire floor of an office building. I'd like to take up one floor of an office building someday. That's just a dream of mine. Really, the only size I want my company to get to is I want it to get to a place where I can have passive income, where I can live on my own. I don't want to make anything super crazy. I mean, obviously I'd love to drive a BMW i8, but, you know, maybe some other day. I would rather just make a modest living and travel. So if my company can get to a place where it can support that, that's a success. In the front?
What was your parents' reaction when you dropped out?
That's such a great question. My parents' reaction when I dropped out. Well, they were pretty much the main reason I went to college. I love my parents. I respect everything they say, and they were very insistent on me going to college. So I decided to go to college, try it out, and there was this friction, right? There was the low grades. There was I'm traveling to Kansas City all the time. I'm not in class. I'm not enjoying it. I'm not happy. And I told my dad that, and he's like, "What would make you happy?" I told him what would, and he's like, "Let's do it." We just went out to Mexican food one night and talked about it. And once my dad told me, "Let's do it," I mean, like do whatever you want. That's when I decided. I mean, once I had my parents' blessing, I literally dropped out the next day. Yeah.
All right. So tell me the best traits of somebody you might work with.
Great question. That's an awesome question. The only thing I pay attention to is communication ability. The only thing I pay attention to is communication ability. I will, interview somebody, take a look at their work that they've done. It's called a portfolio. It's something that, we use a lot in kind of my industry. So that'll look like a website. I'll take a look at their website that has all their work on it. And then I'll call them. And then I'll call them before I hire them and talk on the phone with them for probably an hour. And I'd say 1 in 8 times I have that conversation, I'm just super impressed with the communication ability, and I'll hire them right on the spot. So, I mean, other than that, if they're a good communicator, they have the ability to learn and to move up, and they're teachable. So I don't really care if their work's not super top-notch. I only want them to communicate well because they're going to be in front of my clients. They're going to be in front of my clients. And the companies that I work with are not small companies. I prefer to work with more mature companies. And that requires kind of a mature filmmaker. That requires a mature marketer. That requires a mature photographer. And so I'm always looking for that communication ability. So practice that. And, if you're trying to interview, if you're trying to express communication ability to somebody, the best advice I can give you is just be yourself. If you just be yourself, your communication flows. It's not awkward. It's perfect. So be yourself. Yeah.
So with marketing, did you teach yourself, or was there someone that helped you learn how to do it?
Great question. Great question. I learned most of what I know through 3 different methods. One is trial and error. I like just getting in and messing up and then correcting myself until it's perfect. 2 is YouTube. YouTube is a huge resource. You can learn how to write computer programs and make applications right now on YouTube. You could go home and do that tonight. You could teach yourself how to play piano. You could carve a whistle out of wood on YouTube. Guys, YouTube's a great resource. YouTube is the way I taught myself how to make videos. And the third way, the sharpening of my video making was actually Matt Bentzinger. Matt Bentzinger came and talked to your guys' class. Huge mentor of mine. He really took me under his wing and taught me how to make very sharp looking videos. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Forever grateful. In terms of marketing specifically, how did I learn how to do Facebook marketing? YouTube. Yeah. Good question. In the back?
What is the process of how a video gets created?
That's a great question. That's a fantastic question. So the process generally sucks. Like it never goes well, which I think is something that is just it's just a creative industry, and that's something that we're kind of plagued by, because everyone has their own ideas and everyone wants their ideas to be in the video, and that just requires a lot of going back. So the process for making a video is typically we'll sell the video, which is usually just a meeting or 2 where we talk about, hey, this is what the video is going to be like. Here's some examples of our work. Here's how much it's going to cost. And they say yes. And then we create something called a production guide for them. I could show it to you later if you want. It's essentially like an Excel spreadsheet that has all the information that we need to produce the video. So shooting locations, actors that need to be there, crew that needs to be there, props that are needed, costumes that are needed, any safety personnel or anything that needs to be on set. And it's just a schedule. So after we give them the schedule, we shoot. That means we'll probably have 3 to 4 different shooting days where my crew will come out, collect video, and then store it until we have all the video collected. Then we go into the editing phase. After the editing phase, we deliver a rough cut to the client and say, what do you want changed on this? The client comes back with what they want changed. We make those changes and go back and forth a few times until we have the final product. And then we send them an invoice. Does that answer your question? Cool. Yes.
Would you have dropped out of college if you did not have your parents' blessing?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have. I don't know, I always go with my gut feeling. I've always done that. I've always trusted that. And my gut was telling me absolutely no. I mean, I was literally unhappy. I was sad. And it didn't matter what my parents thought. It didn't matter if I would have been poor. It didn't matter if I would have been, homeless. Like I'm not scared of those things. I just wanted to do something that made me happy. So, yeah, sorry, Mom and Dad, but my personal happiness is important. And kind of like on the slide earlier, investing in your personal happiness isn't selfish. It's not selfish. It's something you should do. How are we doing on time? When are we at?
Yeah, 35 minutes. Can we stand up and do like a little stretch?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Chill out for a second.
Mine starts too. Mine starts too.
The same building?
One of them is. Two of them are.
Hey, if you could tell a little bit of what you do too, that'd be up. But it's up to you. I didn't mean to start on you. Scary raccoons.
It is probably.
I'm not even joking, I swear.
You can, and that's something I want to ask you is, okay, so your very first video how old were you? How did that come about? Just from the standpoint that, hey, if I'm a student, and if I want to get something started, then how do I get something started? To the whole class. Because I always think like, hey, if I were one of these guys, and if I wanted to start something when I was 17,
No, I
real
just
life starts
did it
today,
that one time.
not later. And how did this guy, when was his very first video that he got paid for? Or if you want to tell like a
So
typical
the priest
story.
for the black shirt is really great. And
Well,
then
one time I was up for 48 straight hours, nothing but no-nos. Then I got the flu afterwards.
Starting with single plays.
Okay. And you sold them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
$7 a copy.
somewhere like per sale.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think would be good.
no, my dad's a good lawyer.
I think it's a great question.
Yeah, yeah. And I may also ask you, like, when, what circumstances would you take a college class?
Because you just think you
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
because
you don't get paid.
you know, my attitude is college is a tool like a car, and I'm not using it right now because I don't need it, but if I need it, I go get it, and college is good.
Oh, yeah.
That's my experience. It's bad a lot of the time.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a tool. Yeah. I would certainly take a college class if I needed to. Yeah.
Can we see one of your videos?
You want to see one of my videos?
This is the first one you've ever been to.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys one of the videos that I made for one of my clients. So there's two types of videos. There's the content marketing videos, and then my company also does something called a branding video. That's like, yeah, it's an overview video of the company, and it's supposed to be like super cool looking and super like flashy and hard to make. But so, starting with some of the more boring stuff.
Your marketing needs a strategy, and your success needs a plan. There's going to be 5
Content
phases
marketing.
behind this plan. And phase 1 is that we build. And under this build, we want to understand your strategy. Because as we know, there may be a lot of businesses in your niche, but no niche in your business is the same. We will establish up to all the following. We want to understand.
I really like how this shot looks. I actually shot this yesterday. It was super cloudy. Like Kansas City in the background. We shot it in 4K. I think it just looks super sharp. I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing. And then I actually didn't introduce Bree here. Bree's my girlfriend, and she's an entrepreneur as well, and she actually is a fitness coach. And I actually made her a video pretty recently that ended up being one of the best videos I've ever made. Figures. So I'll show you guys that one. This is the branding video. So this is like the cooler one. These are the ones I like to make because they're bangers. They're tight. Let's see.
When I first committed to my fitness goals, I remember what it was like. I was overweight, I was uncomfortable, I wasn't confident. I had never been fit before in my entire life. When I got into weight training, things started to change, and I don't just mean my body. I started believing in myself. I started building up my self-worth. I started talking kindly to myself and, in turn, talking kindly to others. I learned the value of sacrifice. I learned how to say no to the things that didn't matter so I could say yes to the things that did. I learned how to work hard in silence and to push forward knowing that all great things take time. But if I kept going, if I kept making small improvements, if I focused on just one thing that I could improve upon from the day before, where would I be in a week, in a month, in a year? How would my life be different? How could your life be different?
Whoa.
Try not to cry.
No, yeah, that gets me super emotional. Yeah, so those are the types of videos that we make. Does that answer your question? Was that cool? Did you like it? I hope you did.
Follow me at Girls Lifted on Instagram.
Bree has.
What? Sorry.
Bree just did the Instagram shout out. She just asked for Instagram followers. Bree has 28,000 Instagram followers, so she's a pretty successful businesswoman. Absolutely.
I'm equally obsessed with what I do. It's very fun.
We get along.
Wait, like when you have a lot of followers and stuff on social media, do you end up getting paid by the actual app at all?
No. So Instagram doesn't pay anybody. Facebook doesn't pay anybody. Brands pay for attention. Brands pay people with successful social media followings, like Bree, for attention. So if I sold protein shakes and I wanted to get some followers to my protein shake brand's Instagram page, I'd hit up Bree and I'd say, post about my protein shake and I'll pay you $200. And Bree posts that to her 28,000 followers, and hopefully people come on over to mine. That's called influencer marketing. It's also something that my company does. Good question. What's up? Great question. Yeah, so I've got 2 YouTube channels. One is my Bentzinger Creative YouTube channel that you can see. It has all of our client projects on it, so you can see everything we're doing for our clients.